The Impacts of Going to Pre-K by Catherine Gaudis-Gio and Linda McNeil. Okay, we're going to do a quick overview of our presentation. First thing we're going to do is do our introduction, then our research question. After that, we're going to move to the hypothesis, and then our findings. After the findings, we're going to go to conclusions, our policy, and then the importance. A brief introduction to our research. We can begin by stating that we agree that a good educational learning foundation is the beginning of a successful learning career as a student for all school years from pre-kindergarten through the 12th grade. Some questions that do arise, though, is does the good educational learning foundation begin when a child is enrolled in pre-K, or does that good educational learning foundation begin when the child remains at home instead of attending pre-K? Another question that arises is does the learning process begin earlier at ages 3 through 4 in Head Start programs? Or does any of this matter if the child is from a low-income, poverty-stricken home environment or from a middle to upper-class income level home environment? Our research will prove all is true, that children who attend Head Start, pre-kindergarten, and transition into elementary grades lead successful learning careers throughout their student life, as well as children who stay home. Our research will also prove that yes, it does matter if a child comes from a poverty-stricken and low-income level home environment compared to a child who is in the middle class or upper class income level home environment. Our research will also prove that new learning methodologies such as STEM plays a huge role in the learning process of children that will develop into further leaders, educators, scientists, professionals that will mold the future of our local communities, towns, cities, states, and nations. Research question. Do children who go to pre-kindergarten educationally benefit versus those children who stay at home with their mother during the pre-kindergarten year? Our hypothesis. Children who don't go to pre-K but whose families are in poverty or in the lower class do not have an academic advantage when they go to kindergarten. However, children who stay home instead of going to pre-K whose families are in the middle class or are in the upper class tend to academically benefit equally, if not more, than those children who are enrolled in pre-K. Data. Our data collection methods are both primary and secondary. Primary because we collected quantitative and qualitative data using surveys, questionnaires, and interviews. Secondary because we also use data from previously collected research. Throughout the process of convenient sampling, we collected some of our primary data. We analyzed our qualitative primary data from interviews by identifying common patterns within the responses and critically analyzing them to achieve our aims and objectives. Our data analysis for our quantitative studies involves critical analysis and interpretation of figures and numbers to find rationale behind our main findings and included comparisons of our primary research findings. Data. The way we collected some of our data was through SurveyMonkey. And we created a survey that had 39 questions, and it went out to 24 public schools in Glynn County and the 10 private schools in Glynn County. And some of the questions that were included on the survey were as follows. My child has grown in his or her physical development, yes or no? My child has grown in his or her literacy and language skills, yes or no? My child has grown in his or her math and science skills, yes or no? So it's questions like that that we gained some of our data from. Data. How do we get this survey distributed? So the way we did this survey is we went into every classroom of all the schools in Glynn County, and we were able to count the teachers' aides, and the children in each classroom, and that's how we were able to come up with the number of surveys that we needed to hand out. So we created these surveys, went back to the classrooms, gave the teachers' aides all the surveys, and asked that they hand them out to the children. Now, we did acknowledge that some of the drawbacks to this is that A, the teacher wouldn't give the surveys to the kids, B, the kids would not give the survey to their parents, and C, the parents would just throw the survey away and not return it. So there are some disadvantages to handing out a survey. Research process. A research process starts with a focus on learning abilities of a child beginning at birth and continuing throughout the child's learning career as the student grows and learns into adulthood. Our research will test the educational skills learned in early childhood, whether obtained at home or throughout a classroom environment, to how those skills contribute to and impact the learning success of a child throughout their learning career as a student and into adulthood. Our research process will spring from the studies conducted at Harvard University and the National Center of Educational Statistics to further the importance of positive contributions from schools, families, and friends that contribute to the student's smooth and successful transitioning from one grade to the next, especially from a Head Start program and pre-K program into the first grade. Our research also will test the impacts of those contributions that have made a direct effect on the distinctive level test scores that they may lead to motivating policy markers to support reform for the next expansion of early childhood education and to increase access to preschool programs that could result in child cognitive development and school readiness that could ensure that no child is left behind. Policy. It's important for policymakers to care about our research proposal regarding the benefits of pre-kindergarten education because it pertains to the level of impact that the Head Start program as well as the pre-K program will have on learning abilities of a child who could or could not benefit them throughout their entire academic career. Policy affects all grades of school years as well as higher education. Policy formation includes rules and regulations to provide funding for school programs, such as pre-K through 12th grade, as well as rules and regulations for people to obtain funding for higher education, such as the HOPE grant. While there's a lot of research that contradicts what our research has shown, there needs to be continued research that needs to be conducted due to the technological advancements of our society that could improve the learning abilities of a child who starts in Head Start or in pre-K and then just advances through the grades 1st through 12th. Additionally, federal, state, and local policies have been put into place to ensure that children are able to start obtaining an education as early as 3 years old. These lawmakers must feel that Head Start programs and pre-K programs are important and improve the child's quality of life and learning. So it's important that our research continue just to show, yes, a child learning at 3 years old and going to a program, whether it be homeschool or pre-K or Head Start, does benefit them.